Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Tiffany Liu. I am a reporter and journalist with WFA here in Dallas, and they asked me to be your moderator tonight, and I'm honored to do it. We are here because there's been a tremendous rise in hate against Asians in America since the pandemic started. But for many of us, we've experienced racism throughout our entire lives. This is nothing new, and our experiences are often swept under the rug. I think our time is now, and we are finally realizing that we have a bigger voice, that the discrimination against Asians needs to stop, and we need to stand up and protect one another. And we need our leaders in our community to stand with us as well. And many of them are here today, so we're very grateful for that. This event is organized by the Dallas-Fort Worth Chinese Alliance and the Asian Culture and Education Society USA, co-hosted by the Organization of Chinese Americans, DFW. And these organizations were able to get some VIPs on the panel tonight. We have city council members from Plano and Allen, as well as their police departments, and also Asian community leaders here with us today. They're going to be here to answer your questions about how we can move forward and create a safer environment for our Asian neighbors and businesses in North Texas. You know, right now, many Asian Americans are living in fear. We have seen the videos from across the country of Asians being attacked on the street, Asian businesses that are being threatened and graffitied. And then we saw the deadly shooting in Atlanta unfold, where 8 people were killed and 6 of the victims were Asian women. And even though officials at this point are saying it's not a hate crime, that doesn't hurt us any less. And it's leaving many Asian Americans across the country angry, scared, and very sad and hurt as well. Because that could have been our mothers, that could have been our sisters or our loved ones. So before we begin today, I just want to take a moment of silence to remember these 8 victims in Atlanta and the countless others who have been harmed out of hate. Thank you for that. So now, before we get to our VIP panel, we have some organizations we'd like to introduce that have been strong advocates in our community. Why don't we start with He Jiang, president of the DFW Chinese Alliance.
Thank you, Tiffany. Yeah, my name is He Jiang. I'm the president of DFW Chinese Alliance. As an Asian American myself, like everyone in the Asian community, I'm horrified by the recent attacks targeting the Asian American community in Atlanta. We also witnessed the rise of anti-Asian racism and violence in the last year, and believed it's reflective of recent rhetoric due to the pandemic, as well as the historic acts of exclusion and marginalization of Asian Americans throughout our country's history. DFWCA is a nonprofit organization based in the local Chinese American community, and our mission is to fight against racial discrimination and defend civil rights. We have organized protests in the past to fight against racial discrimination. When Officer Peter Liang was unfairly tried, and when Jimmy Kimmel made a joke about killing every Chinese in one of his shows. In this reckoning time regarding racial discrimination, we host this online rally together with Asian Culture and Education Society USA. We want to invoke an open and authentic discussion with elected officials, law enforcement, and scholars. We also want to deliver the message to the entire society that our society as a whole has a shared responsibility to combat the biases and stereotypes that lead to the prejudice and its violent expression. There is no place for violence spurred by racist rhetoric in our society. We will work tirelessly towards a society that no community will fear for their safety and the safety of their family members, and all communities will feel safe, supported, and included. As a response to the recent attacks against Asian Americans, our community wants answers. When thinking about our safety, our family's safety, like good citizens we are, we look to the authorities. Today, we want answers from authorities about what can be done and what will be done to ensure the safety of our children, our elderly parents, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And then let's bring on Xie Jin, president of the Asian Culture and Education Society USA, and Organization of Chinese Americans.
Good evening. My name is Jian Xie. As the host of the President of Asia Culture and Education Society, also as the co-host of the President of OCA-DFW, thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. Today, we are here to stop the Asia hate, and we are proud to be able to host it today with all of you. Thank you, City of Plano, Plano Police Department, and thank you, City of Allen, Allen Police Department, City of Coppell, and thanks Liu Yuan and our guests. Before we get started, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you who helped us make this event come together to become a success. Hailong Jin and Tiffany Liu. We could not have done it without you. In today's gathering, we are united with all of our Asian Americans standing up against hate, xenophobia, and violence. This hate must be stopped. So a very welcome to each and every one of you. If you have any questions, suggestions, you can call me at 214-471-2651. Thank you very much for listening. I pass this to Mrs. Tiffany Liu.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jen. We have Gan Qiang with the president of the Association Chinese Professionals.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Qiang. I'm president of ACP Foundation. Tonight, I'm glad to be here and just express our society. So ACP Foundation condemns in the strongestly of the terms of the recent violence in Atlanta. The ACP Foundation stands up in solidarity with other local communities to call on our local and national leaders to condemn anti-Asian hatred and violence. At this time of crisis, it's more important for Americans of all faiths and all stand together to do everything in our power to put an end to hate and help one another. We demand strong and hold actions from our judicial department at the local, state, and federal level to stop the hate crime and protect the Asian, not just Asian American, also all the American in our country and all volunteer population that all potential target of hate away from the hate crimes. ACP Foundation basically founded in 1993, and we have a lot of professional Chinese people here. But we found the hate, Asian hate, it didn't care about what your education you have. They just look at you, you have the Asian face. So this is why we stand here, and we hope all the community, all the local communities, include our council of the cities, and also we work with hopefully we can work with police department and all other government officials department, and work together to stop the hate, stop Asian hate. Thank you. And the time to thank you back to the Tiffany.
Thank you. And then Francine, are you there? We're chair and president of the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs North Texas chapter.
Yes,
Go for it.
Okay, there you go. Good evening. Thank you, Jen, for inviting me to participate in this forum. Yes, North Texas chapter of APAPA. I am the chair. This is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, and grassroots organization with a mission to empower AAPI community through education, leadership development, and active participation in civic and public affairs. AAPI condones the vicious serial murder of Asian women that took place in Atlanta, Georgia on March 16th, and expresses our condolences to the family and friends of the victims. This is a natural outgrowth of the hatred that was sown by the last administration. A recent poll commissioned by the National Asian Pacific Islander Women's Forum showed that nearly half of Asian American and Pacific Islander women have been affected by anti-racism in the past 2 years, and more than 68% of the reported incident of anti-Asian harassment and violence have been from women. AAPI communities across the nation and in Texas are seeing an increase in attacks due to a stoking of racial resentment against Asian American in the light of the pandemic. Anti-Asian hate is rising in America. We call on our local, state, and elected officials to stand up to anti-racism, anti-Asian hate and racism, and enact safety regulation, including gun safety, to allow Asian and other women's living their daily lives and as civilian and as workers in various industries to have a sense of safety in their community. See us, we're American too. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. We have Diana Wang she's president of the Marco Polo World Foundation. Diana, are you there?
I'm here, but I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. Yes, I'm a Marco Polo, president of Marco Polo World Foundation. The foundation, the mission is, provide all of the culture. We have big events. Is 15,000 people come over. Is the most is the Asian attending. So right now in this issue, we just really worry about if we have this big event. I worry that people come to our event attack this Asian people. That is I think it make us feel is the rest of life, not peace. So this issues really bring this people get scared, come out. And I think in our government and needs, I think it needs to address for this issue to how can protect people, not only Asian. I also heard people just get crazy, doing all kind of crazy things. So I hope that, through this media and can let people know, stop this, to the Asian hates, Yes, that's me. Thank you.
And good evening, everyone. My name is Helen Du. I'm the president of USCCC, Dallas, US China Chamber of Commerce. And majority of our members are the local American Chinese businessmen and women in Dallas, Texas. What had happened in Atlanta is a very sad and heartbroken tragedy. And it is not an isolated incident. It comes in as a string of anti-Asian hate crimes with violences across the entire country. It is reported that in year 2020 alone, anti-Asian hate crimes have increased nearly 150% in 16 of the largest US cities, and it is still increasing. What makes this event even more painful is that we saw this coming, but we felt depressed that we cannot stop it immediately. It is truly the time to stop the hate crime and to make our community a better and safe place. We are here today to stand up and voice up for our community, to stop Asian hate. I am really looking forward to the panel discussion today and very thankful to Jarlene, Hailong, Tiffany, and all organizers to make this meeting possible. Together, let's make a change and let's make America a country that embraces everyone from different backgrounds and value everyone equally. Thank you. With this, back to Tiffany.
Thank you. Let's have Jack Zhao, president of the DFW Hunanese Association.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jack Zhou. It's my pleasure and also my duty to join this meeting tonight, representing the DFW Chinese Hunan Association. We have over 500 members. At first here, I represent my association, extends our deep sympathies to the family that lost their loved one in the Atlanta brutal shootings. We are angry and disgusted about the brutal shooting in Atlanta and the violence that persisted in the past 1 year against Asians, minorities, and women. Hate can have no safe harbor in America. It must be stopped. And it is all of us together to make it stop. Tonight, let's stand together to fighting hate. Thank you. Back to you, Tiffany.
Hi everybody. My name is Cheryl Pierre-Louis. I am the president of DFW Chinese American Story E-Garden. We are an organization for children. I am a Chinese American. My husband and I are 2 small children, and my mom, who is also a Chinese American, a senior citizen. We all live together here in Allen. Like any other good moms, I think about my children's safety all the time, which is a norm. However, lately, in the past year or so, I call myself worrying about my mother's safety. With 20-some years living in America, this is the first. Now, my senior citizen mother, is she safe walking around in the neighborhood after dinner? Is she safe going shopping in an Asian market? Is she safe going grocery shopping at Sam's? Oh, well, looking Asian. Now, for me to wonder about these questions, that is not the norm, and it shouldn't be. I've always considered our local police officers part of our community, who I trust and who will protect me, our friends. When COVID-19 first started, the first thing my Asian community did, my organization did, was to find every PPE we could lend our hands on. Then we donate them to our local police officers, our first responders, because we see them as part of our community, our family. Now we want to see them protected, and I trust them. I trust that our officers do take Asian hate seriously. I trust that our officers will do everything they can to stop Asian hate. And tonight, I want to set the tone and stop anybody who would try and patronize me and say everything is just fine the way it is, because it is not. If it is, we wouldn't be here today. Asian hate is not fine. The status quo is not fine. Tonight, I look forward to hearing details on what action will be taken to protect Asian communities. My communities, my family, what actions will be taken to stop Asian hate? Thank you. Back to you, Tiffany.
Thank you. We have Parul Harsora with the Highland Park Understanding Diversity Group, board member of that. Parul.
Hi, everyone. I'm a board member of a group called Highland Park Understanding Diversity. It's a parent group that promotes inclusive and respectful environment in Highland Park for HPISD students. We formed our group in 2016 as a result of some racist incidents in our schools. And since then, we have been advocating for inclusion and diversity. And in light of the events in Atlanta recently, I was horrified and I reached out to my another HP resident who's Chinese American. And I said, how can I help? What can we do? And she said I could join this forum tonight as a member, representing HPUD or Highland Park Understanding Diversity. And it's, of course, I want to be an ally, but it is also my hope that I can take back information to Highland Park so that we can make, we can make it safer for everyone in our community.
Thank you. Let's have Max Song, former president of the Xinhua Alumni Association.
We all love America, this great country. But the tragedy in Atlanta this week and many incidents last year let us all know that the discrimination and hatred against Asians have been going on for a long time in an ever larger scale. The law can prosecute the hate crimes, but the law cannot cure the hate minds. It's heartbroken to see the innocent people got killed, but heartwarming to see so many people from all walks of life stand up and come together to fight against the hatred. We shall all put aside the partisan politics, since hatred people don't care about the left or right. When they kill, they don't ask if you voted Trump or Biden. Let's unite, let's fight against all forms of discrimination and hatred. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Max. And then also not speaking today, but we also have the vice president, or we also have the Vietnamese community of Dallas. Their vice president is listening in on this conversation. The reason we wanted you guys to hear from these organizations is because these are the people that you can work with in the future if you want to get more involved in this cause and just find out how you can help. And then, yeah, so these are great people to get connected with. That's what we're here for today. So of course we want to just move into our panel. A lot of people had questions when they signed up for this event today. I'm going to introduce you to our panel. We have Chief Ed Drain with the Plano Police Department. We have Officer Sam Ripamonti with the Allen Police Department. Plano City Council Member Shelby Williams. Plano City Council Member Maria Tu. Allen City Council Member Lauren Doherty. Capel City Council Member John June, and we have Dr. Yo Tian Long, an instructor in Asian American Studies at Arizona State University. So thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate your time and your energy and your care for the Asian community. So I guess we can just dive directly into this. The first question we had, this is probably directed more toward the police department and maybe even the city council members, was have you seen Asian hate incidents increase in your cities since the pandemic started? Oh, let's get Chief unmuted here.
Yeah, this is Chief Drain, Plano Police Department. In the case of Plano, we have not seen an increase in Asian hate crimes. In 2020, we had 2 cases that we did investigate. One involved a road rage incident where an Asian American inadvertently cut off another driver. The driver followed this person until he stopped, and then he assaulted him and called him a racial slur. The issue with that one, it was not reported as a hate crime. It is a crime, and it is a crime that's being investigated because it's unlikely that the person even knew, whoever it was that cut them off, they intended to follow them and, you know, take retribution for that, is what it appeared. And then we had another one where someone's house was egged, but some others' houses were also egged too. So it was unlikely that those were hate crime. Those were the two that we looked into as hate crimes in 2020. And while we're talking about this, just to be clear on what folks know is a hate crime in Texas and pretty much at the federal level, for something to be, there is not a provision for a hate crime itself. There are other offenses that people can commit, like assault or damage to people's property, theft, other things. So if there is some other offense in our Texas Penal Code, and the reason, the motivation for that was bias or prejudice because of someone's ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, then it can be classified as a hate crime. And then if the person is convicted of the underlying offense, then that could potentially raise their punishment once they're convicted. So that's how it works in Texas. In Texas, all hate crimes, once they've been identified as hate crimes, are reported to the Department of Public Safety and ultimately to the FBI for national data collection.
Got it. Officer Monty, do you have anything to add to this? Well, I guess a follow-up question for you, Chief. And this kind of did come up, but also there was an incident today where, you know, someone was standing outside of the Ranch 99 in Carrollton and the H Mart in Carrollton and the Ranch 99 in Frisco, you know, holding a flag that made a lot of customers and business owners feel uncomfortable. You know, the person, I guess, wasn't doing anything wrong beyond trespassing on a private property, but how do people go about reporting incidents like that? I think a lot of people don't know what steps they can take if, like, you know, nothing violent has happened, but they're feeling threatened.
Right, and I'm not familiar with the incident in Carrollton.
It just happened today, so.
Oh, did it? Okay. But there are, you know, I talked about the underlying crimes, and there are some things that people can do under the Constitution. They have the First Amendment right to, you know, to call me the N-word or to make a racial slur against someone else in most circumstances. And typically, that's not going to be a crime because they have a First Amendment right to do that. That obviously makes people very uncomfortable, though, when they're doing that, when you clearly have someone who is racist or prejudiced that are making those kinds of racial slurs. And I think, and if they're doing that out in public spaces, we want that reported to us. We want to get that person identified if we can that made that, even though there may not be necessarily any criminal offenses that we can charge them with at that time.
Right. So you should just encourage people to call and report it anyway.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the other reasons we want them to do that too, because if this is happening in a public space, then it can lead to violence because someone else may get upset. And so we want to get out there. I would classify that at least a disturbance that we want to respond to and just make sure that situation is under control. And if nothing else, move people along. So yeah, we do want those to be reported to us, whether or not a criminal offense has occurred.
Perfect. You know, for our city council members that are here right now, you know, how would you address this to your community who are feeling scared right now?
Tiffany, I will start. This is Maria too. So I was elected onto the Plano City Council in 2019. I, with another Asian city council member, two of us were both elected in 2019. And I want to stress that I believe that Plano welcomes diversity and is very inclusive. And that's the reason why you can tell from our elections and our representation that we have more than 25% representation, both in PISD as well as in city council. With that said, however, I want to make sure that people understand, I condemn hate crimes against Asians. And I believe that any attack on Asians is an attack on the American culture and American value. Now, why is, at this point in Plano, we're not seeing a lot of the increases in this type of offenses, is because, first of all, I believe that most of the people in Plano are believes in inclusivity and welcome diversity. But also there's another thing about the Asian culture. We don't like to get involved with law enforcement. We like to keep our, our head down and our nose to the grindstone, and we work. And there is something that we can resolve without telling, making a big deal out of something. The Asian community have a tendency to do that. They try to resolve it within their community. Well, I'm here to say, don't do that. We as an Asian community, we need to voice our complaint. We need to voice our concerns. We need to make sure that the people who are representing you in our community are heard. Our problems, our fears, and everything that we go through. Instead of keeping it in or talking to our family only, or just being in fear, we need to have unity. We need to understand that there are resources out there. There are solutions out there, that unless the police chief hears about it, unless we hear about it, there's nothing that we can do to make sure that these issues are addressed.
Lauren, did you want to address something from Alan?
Sure. First of all, thank you for including me on this panel, and thank you to the DFW Chinese Alliance to putting this together. And I see it's obviously popular with over 600 viewers at this time. I believe that Alan is similar to Plano in that we are not seeing an increase in crimes against Asians and the AAPI community this year. And I do think that that reflects the fact that our community is very diverse and very educated as well. But that doesn't mean that these kinds of things and the feeling of fear in the AAPI community isn't happening in Allen. And so I just want to say that we recognize it, that I recognize it, and that I see you. Unlike Plano, Allen does not have any Asian representation on our city council. And so I would like to echo what Council Member 2 said and say that please speak up and speak to your council members, speak to our city staff when you are feeling threatened, because we would like to represent you. We would like to see you and hear you. And we would like to represent your experience in our community. We are working on creating a diversity, equity, and inclusion task force in Allen that will be studying these kinds of issues and specifically how they are affecting our residents in Allen and creating a path forward to address any issues that we do find that are persistent in Allen. I'm really excited to see what happens. That task force is going to be made up of a diverse group of residents in Allen. It won't be staff or council led, it will be resident led. And that's really important because that gives those communities a voice that they may not necessarily have in our leadership at the moment. So please participate, speak up, and come to us when there are issues that we need to address.
Thank you. What's the task force called again?
At this time, it has not been appointed yet, but at this time, we're calling it the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force.
Great. I'm sure people will be interested in that. Councilmember Williams, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, Plano is blessed to be home to people from all over the world, including my wife, who is an immigrant. I've had the pleasure of working alongside Hai Long Jin as a swimming official with City of Plano Swimmers, with Maria Tu on Plano City Council, and from other people from all over the world. Hatred of any sort is a terrible condition of the human heart. And it comes from traditional human failings like greed, envy, lust, and fear. And murder is the very worst manifestation of that. You can't take it back. You can't undo it. But whether it's murder or whether it's harassment of a shop owner or whether it's artificially reducing college admission scores, the things that cause us to diminish others have to be a societal solution. Like Chief Drain was saying, that there are crimes, and then if they are demonstrated, then they may be elevated to a hate crime. if there's a separate legal distinction for a hate crime, it implies that murder for any other reason is somehow more acceptable and should be more palatable to the family of the victims. But what manifests to cause somebody to murder another human being for whatever reason, that's something we have to address in our communities, in our families, in our schools. And we have to be able to interact with people like I do with Hailong and with Maria, who, I mean, obviously our race is the most obvious differentiator between us, but it's an immutable characteristic. There's nothing we can do about it. We need to be able to look beyond all of our differences and respect one another's differences and really take the opportunity to know one another as we pass one another in life. That's got to be a full community-wide effort. That can't just be a legal distinction. That has to happen in our homes, within our families. We have to teach this to our children. And it's an ongoing effort as long as humanity exists on the earth.
Thank you. The next question we have is for Dr. Yo. How do you address racism at work and make your company more inclusive? You know, I think people are experiencing some racism and they've been experiencing it for a long time, you know, in history until now. So people are wondering, how do you address that at work?
Thank you for inviting me to join this panel. I think hate crime against Asian American is a deep-seated in United States history. So it happens actually everywhere, especially in the workplace. So I think the first thing that the company should do is to reckoning this issue and establish a diversity panel or such kind of internal organization to help people of color, especially Asian American, because Asian American usually are deemed as a privileged race in the United States because they think, okay, since our socioeconomic status is well above even white American, but actually we are discriminated in another way, such as we got for example, we got bamboo ceiling. For example, we got less represented in the management level. For example, we are always seen as a forever foreigners, such prevent us to participating in more major decision-making process, even in big companies. So I think that's something the company can do. And also I think the company should to help us to work together with other people of color, such like, and to let us, our Asian American, to stand in solidarity in other racial ethnicity issues relating to other people of color. That's my suggestions.
Thank you.
And I think also there are many companies, we have a large portion of Asian American employees. So I think it's very important for the management level to be aware of the Asian American history and to be better accommodate Asian Americans' demands, especially on equal protection and equal racial related matters. Thank you.
I'm not sure if Officer Ripamonti is back on. This question would be for Chief Drain and you. The question is, and somebody sent this to me in the chat, I'm going to kind of combine it with one of the questions we got overnight as well. You know, how do we protect ourselves if somebody starts to come at us? And then the question in the chat is, do you encourage people to carry for self-defense, you know, et cetera? I think there's just fear, like, what do we do when it happens? And you know, we're kind of in shock at that point.
This is Chief Drain. As far as personal protection, I think that first off, using using good common sense applies. We want to be aware of our surroundings. If we go out for dinner or to go out with friends, we have to watch drinking too much and losing our sense of awareness. I think would be a good thing as well. with our personal properties, with our homes, our residences, having things like make sure that if you have a gate, make sure you have a lock on it so that people can't easily get into your backyard. If people can afford it, I think video cameras, doorbell cameras are good things to have around your property to help, number one, keep people away, but then also provide law enforcement with good evidence should someone attempt to do something to your property. When you leave dark places at night, try to be with someone when you go to your car. Make sure you have your keys ready to go so you can open up your car and get in. Make sure you keep your phone charged and have it ready to call 911 if you need to. Regarding whether someone should obtain a license to carry, that's an individual choice I think that people need to make. But what I would say to that, though, if you decide to get a license to carry, that training is not very extensive. You know, you can get it done in a day. And for that weapon to be helpful to you, you have to train. You have to go to the range on a periodic basis and make sure that you train. And sometimes, you know, I carry a gun all the time, you know, I'm in uniform, and it literally is a pain in the butt. And so what that means is that people will take it off and they'll say, I'm gonna use it when I need it. They rarely need it, so they stick it in their glove box, they stick it in their center console, and then they kind of forget about it. I mean, we've actually returned guns to people who didn't even realize they were stolen out of their car. So so make sure that if you're going to have a weapon, that you keep it secure. You have an obligation and a responsibility to make sure you know how to use it and that you know where it's at and that you keep it secure. And then people can make up their own choice if those are things that they want to do, if that's something that they want to take on as far as carrying a personal firearm with them.
So carry a pepper spray and carry a blow whistle is that a good idea?
Yeah, I think pepper spray is not a bad idea at all to use. You can go to, there are certain gun stores and places like that that sell that. Having a very loud whistle and some kind of a noise maker is also not a bad idea as well.
Great, thank you. Does Allen Officer Ripmonte have anything to add?
Hey, Tiffany, one other thing then while we wait for him is we offer a course that we stopped doing during COVID called RAD, and it's basically a self-defense course for females. We have officers who are instructed in that. We started doing that to protect women from sexual assault, and then that's another option too for females. There are several police departments in the area that once we get out of these COVID restrictions, we'll be teaching that, and that's also something that I would recommend that females take a look at.
That's a great resource. Thank you for that, Chief. I appreciate it. Well, let's just go on to our next question because I'm not sure if his microphone is working. We're getting quite a few questions in the chat, so I'm going to try to read one of these. This is for our elected officials. How can people reach out to you to express their concerns?
I guess I'll start. Shelby Williams, Plano City Council. My personal cell phone number and email address are right on my website at shelbyhwilliams.org. I'm not president. I have no excuse not to be fully accessible.
Hi, this is Lauren Doherty. I'm on the Allen City Council. I will take a note from Shelby and add my phone number to my website. Thank you, Shelby. But it is readily available, and I'm happy to put it in the chat for you. My website does have a contact form. You can also schedule a meeting with me via Zoom. And those are usually about 15 to 30 minutes, but you can schedule as much time with me as you want. I'm easily connected to on my Facebook page, my Twitter, my Instagram. Those are all Lauren for Allen, or laurenforallen.com is my website. You can also reach out to any council member, I believe, in almost any city by going to their city website and looking up their council information. So the City of Allen website has a city council page, and each of us have our own email address. And you can also call a phone number that's listed there and leave a message for us. So I hope you do reach out to me.
I'm a criminal defense lawyer. If you Google me, it's very easy to find me. My name is Maria Tu. If you want to find me on Plano City Council, you can do so just like what Shelby said. It's very easy to get in contact with me. My cell phone's listed, and I answer my cell phone basically 24/7. Now, don't tell anybody else, okay? But I do want to go back a little bit about the protecting ourselves. I believe that unity is the most important thing in making sure that we are heard and that making sure that we are protected. So for example, get to know your neighbors and, and get to know your city council members, get to know your state representative, get to know the people who are in your city who is supposed to be responsible for our safety and for our children's safety. Get to know them and don't feel like, well, they're high above, the clouds, so I really can't talk to them, or I'm afraid that if I reach out to them, they're gonna say they're too busy. No, their job, our job, is to represent the people in our city and the people in our county and the people in our district. So, when you start reversing the role and realize that they're not high above the sky, they are actually our servants, we are servants, then you'll understand that reaching out to them is exactly what you should do.
Thank you. And this next question is for Dr. Yo. And this is also a combined question because we've gotten a few about this. It's how do we talk about racism with our children, and then also, equipping our teachers to do that as well?
I think it is extremely important to talk racism with our kids. First of all, I think we should teach them history since our public education system doesn't do so. If you look into our history textbook, Asian American history is kind of missing. They barely talk about our own history. The only two things they only discuss in our textbook is Chinese Exclusion Act and the Japanese internment, which I think is quite far from sufficient, with no mention of our contribution to this country, with no our role in civil rights movement, among many other things. So I think it is our parents' responsibility to do what schools should do at this moment, since we couldn't change the textbook in a short time. So let's begin with children's book, which features our own people, tell our own history. If you need a reading list of the books, I can provide you with that. Also, we should be more sensitive to race-related matters happen on campus. Many of us are new immigrants who do not know too much about the undercurrent of racism in this country, which is literally everywhere. Since we do not get socialized in the same way as our children do, we must be lesser know what racism or racial issue may disturb their mental well-being. So be more sensitive, be more active, be more activist. Like all participants in this room, call out racism every time. We should be the shield protecting our kids. Moreover, I think our parents should not be influenced by those anti-Blackness narrative or sometimes anti-Asian narratives, which are trying to divide and conquer ourselves. We should stand in solidarity. That's my suggestions. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you. And then this question would be for PD and the city maybe. But is there going to be extra patrols, provided for Asian businesses right now when things are, I guess, just a little extra heated? And what other preventative measures can you take?
In the case of Plano, as Councilmember Chu mentioned, Asian Americans make up well over 20% of our population. Now we've got East Asians, and we also have South Asians are included in those figures, but they are scattered across. Our city is about 72 square miles. We have a pretty good Asian population east of 75. We've got them in the center of town, far west Plano, and they have businesses all over town as well too. So. But Plano, we are very visible. We believe in high visibility patrol. We are across our city. If there is some business that gets a specific threat, that is something that we can look at, of course, and we do that. But I think we've got Plano covered as far as being able to protect our businesses or get there quickly. We have a pretty good response time, under 8 minutes for just any call for service, less than 5 minutes for emergency calls for service. So I think we provide good coverage already across our city.
Says House Resolution 908 is about denouncing anti-Asian sentiments. Many of our Texas representatives voted against it. What should we do? I don't know if this is something maybe city council members can address, if you know how to help.
I'm actually not familiar with the text of the bill. I couldn't speak to why it was voted against. I can say that if I were in the legislature, a general denouncement of racism, I don't see why that should be a problem. The same failings of the human heart I was talking about earlier is something we should set an example for with our communities and with our children alike, to make sure that they understand that we don't find this acceptable. If there's anything about the bill that touched on the reasons why I have concerns about actual differences in legal differentiation in hate crimes, that might have been a reason for voting against it if it seemed to suggest that other forms of hate were somehow more acceptable. But I'm speculating there.
Go ahead, Councilmember 2. Let me see if I can help you with that unmuting.
All right, thank you. So just like what I've said previously about, I don't care what bill or what legislation, I believe the most important thing is with regard to what I talked about before, unity. And unity means voicing our desires and voicing our opinions. You know, it really doesn't matter if we voice different opinions as long as we voice it. And one of the ways that we voice our opinion is through voting. And if you don't like a certain way a representative is representing you, first of all, tell them, let them know what the problem is, and then advocate for your position. I have many times on the city council been swayed by my constituents about, you know, how to go about voting one way or the other, because they talk to me. They tell me what's the problem, what's their concern. So unless your representative hear from you, you know, we're never going to change history the way it is. Remember, Asians, we have always been stereotyped as being the good and, you know, the silent. Well, we got to break that stereotype, and it comes from us. First of all, we need to voice our opinion. We need to vote, and we need to stop being afraid about anything, because we are part of America. We are the fabric of what makes America the way it is today. So I just want to encourage people, don't be, you know, asking other people to help you. Speak up, speak out, all right?
Great, thank you. You know, we are at 8:04 right now. We have so many questions. And I know you guys have provided contact information. And so, you know, I would say for those, if you're not getting your questions answered directly today, to just reach out. It seems like that's what, you know, is needed here. But before we move on to the next step of this event, I would like to ask the panelists if you guys had anything to add. You know, we can go through each of you one by one and see if there's anything you'd like, you know, the 625 people in here, we have a lot of people in here, anything you'd like to say to them. Why don't we start with Chief Ed Drain?
Yes, I'd like to go back to something that Councilmember 2 mentioned, and she talked about getting to know your neighbors. And, you know, I live in Plano, of course, and where I live, there's a white walking trail. And I mean, it looks like a UN convention out there, you know, when I have neighbors around me. And it's really important that we get to know each other for the reasons she says, but also that we get to understand other cultures as well. And if your neighbors know you and if they see something going on at your property, they may be more willing, hey, that doesn't look right, you know, because Ed normally doesn't do that or whatever. I think that can really be helpful, and it makes our neighborhoods be more resilient when people know each other. And I just think it's good for us to expand our awareness, and all of that helps cut down on the hate when you understand people from different cultures better you're less likely to be afraid of them and to engage in that hate that we see going on in other places across the country.
Great. Councilmember Williams.
Touching on what Councilwoman 2 started and Chief Dream followed on, don't be afraid to get to know people. You know, expressing a curiosity about somebody else, their culture, their cuisine, whatever it is. People tend to appreciate that. Try not to come across as too nosy, they might resent that, but I have great relationships with my neighbors, most of whom are like my immediate next door neighbors are all from different countries. And it's because we can have curious conversations and genuinely want to learn about each other. My daughters have great friendship with my next door neighbors. And when we can do that, when we can really genuinely ask about one another, most people are willing to share. And to Chief Drain's point, it's much, much harder to be afraid of somebody when you've exchanged recipes or when you've asked them to keep an eye on your house while you're on vacation. And that's the kind of thing that really builds a sense of community.
Thank you. Councilmember 2. Parting words. Let me unmute you. Sorry.
Thank you. Maybe I just talk too much, you know, that's the problem. So the only thing I want to say is get involved. Get involved in everything. And, you know, if you can volunteer your time, get into volunteering. Get involved. That's the only thing that I want to say.
Great. Thank you so much. I love your passionate voice. Councilmember Doherty.
Thank you. Yeah, agree with everything that came before. And to add on to that, like I said earlier, we do not have Asian American representation on our council. So I would love for some of you in the audience to run for office. We need to have representation in our council for all the communities. And we definitely do not have that right now. Representation matters. And so if you don't see somebody on your city council that looks and acts and believes the way you do, then run for that position. So vote, run for office, participate in government, and use your voice. All of the things that everyone's been saying all night long. So,
Dr. Yo, any parting words?
Yes, actually, I got a very specific suggestion to our elected officials here. I think we should add more books about Asian American history to our local libraries, because last year when I was teaching a young kid who trying to know our own history, she was quite inspired by the Black Lives Matters issue, but she couldn't find any Asian American history book in our own library. So I think that's very small things we can do at this very moment to let our kids get access to our own history if they want to. Otherwise, I don't think any of our parents get enough knowledge to give them adequate education on what happened to us in the past. Especially that books are not just ordinary books, that books actually 2 award-winning books about own Asian American history, about Asian American social scientist issues, but they are not in our library. That's very easy to get, and we don't need to ask for help from Amazon. I think we should do something to our public library system. That's what I want to tell. Thank you.
Perfect. I don't think I missed anyone. I don't think Officer Ripamonti's mic is working, but he was here listening. So that's a really important part of it. Again, many thanks to our panel for being here today. I know you're taking time out of your Sunday, but it just shows the community your awareness and your care for this cause. And so it really is appreciated. And I think everyone looks forward to working with you guys more in the future. Thank you so much. So we're going to move on to the next part of our agenda. We have the Plano Police Department here or the city of Plano, to give some safety tips, how to prevent yourself from becoming a victim. Let me see if I could unmute Ren Liu, Police Community Liaison with Plano.
So I speak English or Chinese? I think English, right?
English, I think so.
Okay. When I was invited to come to talk at this event, I have a very complex feeling about who am I, what am I, you know. I'm a police community liaison, work for the Plano PD, and also I'm a certified crime prevention specialist. It's my professional, okay? But I'm also a Chinese American. I'm a Chinese American, I have another identity. So shall I talk as a city employee or an Asian American? Is it the same? It should be, but there's some difference too. So why do I think this way? As an Asian American, I think fighting against the structural racial inequality is the real crime prevention. That's the real crime prevention. All other normal crime prevention, as my job, are more passive, since we are preparing not to be or to be attacked, assaulted, and killed. This is what we're afraid, right? As an Asian American, me, I would like to call people to fight against the racial discrimination that happens everywhere and every single day. We can fight as an individual and as an ethnic group, as a part of the AAPI, and unite with anybody that against this structural racial inequality. Without this kind of action, there will be no security, no safety for AAPI. We have a long, long way to go. So this is both my identity. I want to talk about this. I have to fight every single day with everybody. Okay, as a PD employee now, I will talk about security. Crime prevention is more people want to listen to or concerned about today. First of all, we want to know who are the bad guys? Who are they? After 9/11, a lot of people thinking, oh, the bad guys come from abroad, they're Muslims, right? But the more and more people realize that, and also the statistics told us that, and also still telling us and happening, we are looking at that, we see it, we realize that all the bad guys, especially hate crime criminals, the terrorists, they are inside the United States. They are inside, they are around us. So we have to know who they are first. And of course, like we always, like crime prevention, we talk about crime prevention triangle like this, right? When we talk about bad guys, they have a desire. Another line is their ability. Can we change that? I don't think so. Okay, that's a system, whatever education is their job. One thing we can do is we don't give them the opportunity. That's the foundation of that. Okay, this is our responsibility. And the hate crime target, we know who they are, right? Who are we? Who are the target? Criminals don't care about your political idea, which party you belong to, which president candidate you vote, or your support, or your rich or poor. If you are successful, you are somebody. As long as you're an Asian, you are the target. All against, all the Asians, we are in one, we are one. So we have to realize that, because it's kind of shame, even now, still some Asians or Chinese Americans still not united together, not united, even in our ethnic group. So that's a shame. We have to realize that we have to, we're one, we have to unite it. Otherwise, that's in danger. We put ourselves in danger. And also hate crime may not happen every day, but discriminations do. Well, if we don't fight against it, it can escalate. It sends the message or signal, Asians are weak. We cannot talk, we don't talk. And also the Asians should be united, also work with anybody, you know, any ethnic groups that are against the racial hatred. Without this unity, there will be no safety for us. We already know the numbers. Now to repeat that, 2020, how many of them? And 2021, federal level already said that will be even worse. We already see it. We already see that. There will be even worse. There's a lot of documents you can go find online, FBI, and their numbers. And so we have to prepare it. We should not be scared, but be prepared. Okay, then Chief Join already talked about in Plano. Not happened yet, because a lot of people, I have a WeChat groups, people ask me, how many, do we have it? You know, so I said that from my understanding, I don't realize, you know, anything happened yet. And I remember that last year when the COVID started, a lot of Asians are really scared. So Chief Join called me, you know, when I'm working from home because of COVID, and make sure the Asians get information that the police department are working and also protect the Asians. We have a Homeland Security, that unit, they are working on that too at that time. It is still now. I trust them and we will work together. But does it mean that in the future will not happen? I don't know, hope not. But we have to think like maybe, so we can prepare, always prepare. So what shall we do? We always say, see something, say something. Because any suspicious person and any suspicious person, vehicle, situation, call 911. I know there are, especially Asians, have a lot of problem talking about call 911. Last month, I have 2 presentations just about call 911. The time was setting for 45 minutes, last 2 hours. That's how difficult for people to understand what the 911 is, how to call 911, what you can say, what you cannot say, what the police will do. So just trust us, call 911. Anything you don't know, but your gut feeling tell you it's not right, call 911. It's police officers' duty and their ability to tell what's going on. Even officer came and nothing happened, it's not a false alarm, okay? If your kids play with a 911, that is, okay? So call 911, anything, trust us, we will go there, okay? If you cannot report that in the moment, anything happened, okay, at that time it's dangerous or you don't caught it anything at that moment. When you get a chance, call, report. If you have a video or witness, would be even better. Okay, give us. And we saw a lot of videos online. See those Asians beaten up, assaulted, yelled at. I really wonder what happened at that moment. And people take videos, right? Has anybody reported that? So I encourage everybody, see something, report it, say something. Okay, be very, very cautious and sensitive. Bystanders, when you see something, you are there. The bystanders intervention is pretty complex. And there'll be long articles, presentations, and tomorrow I start working on that article in Chinese. I will send out through my WeChat groups and also telegrams around 3,000 people. I encourage you to spread the words and then tell people what to do, okay? And, but if the target, the victim is a minor, if a senior or somebody is disabled, you should report for them, okay? When you see something, it's adults, they are attacked. Chief, if I'm wrong, you correct me. And so then maybe should get their permission to report. They're adults, they are not, seniors, they are not minors, they are not disabled. Is it have to get the permission to report for them? Maybe I call 911 at that moment if something go really, really bad, right? Okay, let's talk about some terrorist. I'm thinking this guy is a terrorist, okay? So some of them, before they act out, they'll put their action, they'll post online, I have this, I will do this. Anybody see that, report it, no matter what state, what city, you see it, just report. And so they're intelligent people, and they will, they work together. And because there's no way officers will be everywhere. And as crime prevention unit, when we do the training, we'll always tell the citizens, when you need it the most, the officers are not there. It's cruel. Okay, some people say, oh my God, it's hard to swallow. That's real. Can you imagine there's a lot of officers there, somebody committed crime in front of officers? So that's why we say that, okay? So you are the ears and eyes for us, for the law enforcement. Let's work together and work with the community, with the police department. Then there's a security, then it will be the safety there. About the property safety, home security, personal safety, that each of them will be like a 2 hours presentation. So I'll give you some very basic ones. Chief Drain and also Maria too talk about know your neighbors. Okay, we always talk about know your neighbors. A lot of Asians, especially Chinese, I know, live all together in one community. When you go there, I feel like I'm in China, okay? And also some people, scattered with other ethnicities, they don't talk. I don't know, because of language, because of culture or something, they just don't talk. But as crime prevention, you want to live in a safe neighborhood. We always talk about the 9333. You know your neighbors, three families in front of you. You are in the middle, left and right, and 3 behind you, 9 of them. And now, of course, every layer at every street, everybody know each other. Okay, and also we have a national night out every single year. And a lot of people complain to me, and HOA, even I had a meeting with an HOA, big neighborhood. So then they said, how can we work, invite Asians, come out to stay with us, talk with us, have activities with us. So we have to go out. We have to know people like people know us. Okay, so this is something. We talk about when people knock your door, you answer it, no matter what. Okay, you answered behind the locked door. You don't open the door. Okay, nowadays, everybody have a GPS. Nobody knocked the wrong door. I did a presentation for so many years. I always ask people, how many people within 5 years you go to the wrong door? Nobody. Knock the door, that's something suspicious. Answer it, report it immediately. No matter what they say. Oh, that's the wrong door. Oh, I don't know, so and so, blah, blah. Now report, call 911. That person may be still around your house at your neighborhood, okay? And also we talk about the electronic ring, that the doorbell, and there's other brand, and but Ring police department joined the Ring, that company. So then even you don't have the Ring, you have other doorbell, you have the any camera, security camera, you can join that too. So anything you can talk to the neighbors and send the pictures, and the PD will get it. Okay, so I already put articles there, and anybody have questions you want to do, how to do that, and you can email me. I will give you my contact information and tell you what's going on, what's that about. And also, if you have civilian cameras, register. You can go online to register with us. So that anything happened, and officers will immediately know this neighborhood, somebody had the cameras. You protect yourself and protect your neighbors. So this program is free. You can do it online. Personal safety. A lot of us people see that on the elders in other state cities, pushed around and beaten up, and so personal safety, property safety, just like usual. When we talk about that, we can talk about a lot about this, and you can email me, and we have other services, we'll have seminars, and we'll talk more. But something basic outlines here. When you are out, always be alert. Always be alert. Eyes on the road. Look at your surroundings, not on the cell phone. Several years ago, remember there's a magazine called Psychology Today. So in the middle, you open that, it's big pictures. There's the real pictures of the street in New York. So they get some bad guys, they're from jail, whatever, and say, okay, those people, which one you want to attack? So they'll point to the people, they're on the cell phone, they're really not pay attention about their surroundings. And somebody, bend their head, I know they're sad. I always say, if you're sad, you cry at home. You're out, you put your head up. No matter how old you are, you have the sickness, whatever, put your head up, look around. Okay, so when people come to you, you think their eyes are not quite right, look into their eyes, show them who you are. This is very, very important. And also, don't take walk when it is dark. I know in summer is coming, Texas is hot. People want to get dark and get out. Just quit it, okay? It's not safe. Or you have a lot of people go with you. By yourself, only 2 people, especially seniors, don't do that. Go out with somebody, not a dog. Dog cannot protect you. Okay, I know somebody had a dog raped with the dog there, okay? It doesn't matter. More people will be more strength, more support. When you're out, tell your family or friend where you are going, when you'll be back. Seniors, turn your trackers, GPS on, let your families follow you, okay? And also there's something I call the kids watch, and seniors have that too, called a medical watch. It's not expensive, $30, $40, you can get it. So they have an emergency button. Of course, you can call somebody, program, and just an emergency button, but realize that emergency button is not called 911, okay? It's not called PD. You can find some watch like that too, but the cheaper ones is when you touch that emergency button is the people your family members. You realize that it's better than nothing. So that's why very important you tell people where you are, where you're going. Okay, seniors, especially if you don't speak English very well, get the kids or the adult kids, make a card for your parents, elder parents, your contact information, name, address. I don't know how many times we'll have somebody just get lost. they're not, mentally or some Alzheimer or something. They just don't know the surroundings. They don't know where they are. Okay, so many times we have this. Be careful of that. And know how to call 911. Okay, 911 in China and in some other countries, maybe in China is for when you call PD, a police one number, call emergency, like a medical emergency one number, a fire another number. In United States, all 911. And the kids, if your parents don't know that, tell them, teach them, just call 911. You don't know the language, just say one thing, Chinese or Vietnamese or whatever your original language is, and they will find the translators for you. Don't hesitate, call 911, just call 911. Don't call your son in China in Vietnamese, in Vietnam, okay? Or your loved one, just call 911. And talk about the mass shooting. This is what happened in Atlanta, and this is what people are afraid of. And you are the first responders. It's not the police. When the mass shooting happened, it's very fast, several seconds, several minutes, that's done. Okay, so you are the first responders. No matter you are a single person or family or a business, you should have a plan. You really have to have that, okay? That plan will tell you where you should, what you should do if anything happened to you. Okay, for instance, you go to the bathroom, you go to a restaurant. It's not, just think about anything happened to you, where do you go? It's not the place you come in. You always remember that the kitchen always have back door. This kind of things, little things, remember to have a plan, okay? And also if the targets the small business, of course, I don't think everybody can have the money to hire security or police, the off-duty police officers. If you can, that would be great. But a lot of people cannot, like a restaurant, salons, right? And so at least you have an alarm. You have the panic button, under your table, desk, or something. Anything happen, immediately push it. You have it. You know how to use it. Test it every 2 months. A lot of places I went there, ask them, yes, we have that, but I don't know. They don't know how to use it, never test it. Something happened. I asked them, did you report if the alarm works, panic button works? No. Okay, you have it. It's not a toy. It's your tool. It's about security and safety. Use it. And the big gatherings, like all those festivals or something, and call your local police department. And most of the times, they will be there and protect you and work with you. And for the bigger business, world organizations like worship facilities, churches, and also the Chinese schools or language schools, and the Kung Fu schools, and any activity centers. And if you can, hire a security guard. And there's a lot of retired military guys and the police officers can do that. And if you have the money, I believe, you can hire the off-duty police officers. But anyway, you should have a safety plan. Since you are the first responders, you have to remember that, okay? And we can work together to make the plan. Plano PD will have a Homeland Security unit, will help. I can help too, okay? After COVID, go little something and we can go face to face. I go to your facility, I will do it with you, okay? And when you have the plan, everybody, every members, teachers, administrations, and everybody should know that and understand that, okay? And another thing is the access control. You should have only one entrance, one, okay? Know each other as a church, as a school, know each other, just like your neighbors, know each other. If you bigger, like an organization, you know, something, one is a gathering, you have greeters. The greeters stand there really to scan people. Who are they? Who are they? Okay, so know who is coming. I suggest you should have the registration system. Anybody is not the member, newcomers, guest, whatever, you should have a name card. Register, show the driver's license, okay, put the name tag on, okay. If it's really good people, they will feel they are welcomed because you follow them, you with them, okay. And so if the bad guys, you also follow them, with them, and watch them. When worship, look up, not look down, okay? At least somebody, security team, you have to open your eyes and look around. Remember that several years ago, there's a black church, there's a Bible study. You know, there's a white guy came in and then they welcome him, studied. I lost the band and closed their eyes, pray. That guy shoot all of them. Open your eyes, okay? Look around. Have a good communication system. You know, how and who will call 911 when anything happened, or when you see suspicious activities of people, okay? And how do you warn the entire facility? How do you do that? You have broadcast system, okay? And do you have a broadcast system and alarm system? And a test if the cell phone works in every single room you plan to hide there. And because other places, the cell phone, when you go inside, will not work. So you have to have a lifeline. You can communicate outside your facility. So there's much things we can talk about, and we don't have that much time, but we will help you and we'll support you. We are with you and we are one. And also I gave you my phone number, or you can find me everywhere really. 972-941-2435, 972-941-2435. That's my office number. Don't be afraid. I'm the one speak Chinese and English. And also nobody dare to answer my phone. My coworker, no, I'm not to answer the phone. And also I have a cell phone connected with my office phone. When that rings, this rings. I'm 24/7 on call. Okay, you have a question, emergency call 911. Okay, questions, you can call me. And also you can email me, yuanl@plano.gov. YUAN, because my first name is Yuan, my last name is L, initials L, @plano.gov. And also we have Zoom seminars. I can do it, and the crime prevention unit will have 2 other officers can do that. And after the COVID going down a little bit, we can do the face-to-face seminars. And invite us, we'll do it for you, okay? And also we'll have home security assessment. It's a free program. We'll go to your house and look around your house, tell you and discuss with you, and if there's any places you can improve to be safe. And also business security assessment will go to your business, no matter big or small, okay? We will do that for you too. And also we call subtitle crime prevention through environmental design. We'll see from the street to inside every corner of your facility and to try our best and to improve it together to make it safe. And also I have a WeChat group and called the safety chat, and also have a Telegram. You want to join it and email me, and so I get your WeChat account, and you can join me. I write articles almost every single day. You welcome you to spread words, send to your groups, send to your people, and I think that's it today.
Thank you, Officer Yuan. I really appreciate your help. And I actually tested by calling her last week on Friday. She picked up phone right away, and she agreed to spend some time with us this weekend. And I really appreciate her help. And she originally saying that she need 2 hours to go through all the safety tips, and I say you only have 30 minutes. And then look at here, and we probably will invite you back and then give us more talk on safeties. And one thing is, I have the Officer Ripamonti from Allen Police Department. He finally be able to fix his audio problem. So, Officer, we'd like to have some words with the Allen citizens here. Yeah, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Can you hear me now?
Right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry about all the trouble tonight, computers. So in Allen, kind of like Chief Drain, I'll second a lot of things he said tonight. We are committed, to working with and standing beside our Asian community in Allen. And if there's any programs y'all have, you can always bring them to us, and we will do anything and everything we can to work with you. There is things, as far as safety, we offer programs, and now with our country starting to open back up, we're hoping to get those started again really soon. So we have self-defense programs out there for women, to kind of help build that confidence. And it's, you can come as often as you like once you've taken the class, and it's something you can keep practicing and keep getting better and better at to really build your confidence. We also do security surveys, like they were speaking about in Allen. So we're happy to come out to your house or your business. We're certified crime prevention specialists in Allen. We have a team of us, and we'll come out and we'll kind of help assess the situation and tell you things you're doing great, and tell you some things that that might be an area to work on to help with the safety of your residents or your business. So we're committed. We're here to help. So reach out if you ever need us.
All right, thank you, Officer. I guess last question is for both Officer Ripamonti and then Chief Drain. A lot of residents actually have concern. That's part of the reason why they came to this meeting today, that they're wondering whether, because of the intense situation right now, is there any plan within Plano or Allen Police Department that will have additional patrol service, maybe around most of the Asian communities or Asian business? For example, like yesterday and today, they were reported that there's a guy trying to, showing off the national flag and then showing off the, Trump 2020 slogan in front of the 99 supermarket. And that's kind of making people start to afraid, because, the election day has been passed for, 3-4 months, but there's still people around trying to kind of scare people away, right? That's make people very scared. Do you guys have any plan?
You want me to go first? As far as plan, we're always training in Allen. I would say Plano is probably the same as us. We're always planning, working on plans for whatever situations can come up. Over the past year, we've dealt with several different instances where we've had to come together as a team with the protests over the last year. And one thing that we always hear from our citizens in Allen is, gosh, I see a lot of police cars in my neighborhood. What is going on? That's something we like to hear, because our officers are out. We're very proactive. We're in our neighborhood. So, and that's our big thing, is we want to be visible and seen to help deter any crime or any bad situations that could come.
Yeah, this is Chief Drain, and I kind of touched on it earlier. In Plano, we do have some neighborhoods that are more heavily Asian than others. In fact, I live in one. All three of my neighbors around me are all foreign born, but I live in Far East Plano. We have them in the center of town, and we have them out west. And again, we're 72 square miles, so it would be impossible for us to. It's not that we have Asians in a distinct community where we can just increase patrols. They're all over our city of 72 square miles. And like Alan, we believe in high visibility patrols. We like to have a lot of marked units out on the street. We do that. But if a particular business or resident did get a direct threat or something happened there, like the unfortunate situation at the restaurant in San Antonio where a bunch of people wrote racial slurs on his business, then of course we're going to direct patrols at something like that. But our Asian community is very, very spread out. It's a large part of our over 22%. Again, all of those are not East Asians, but over 22% of our population in our city, and we are here to protect everybody. And I also want to point out too, to our commitment to making sure that everybody is safe, the fact that we do have a Chinese American working in our crime prevention unit specifically to reach out to our Asian community is going to be rare in a police department our size. And that's how important we take that. And that's not something that we just started recently. She's been here over 15 years, almost 20 years, I believe, working for the Plano Police Department. And so we've been committed to this for a while.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah. Thank you, all the panelists. I think today Lily Bao just attended our session. I think she's late because of the other conflicts. Lily, would you like to give a few words?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so glad to see so many people join this effort. And thank you for the organizers. Yes, I had some conflicts, and I'm glad you still have the meeting going on. Just like any of you, I am just horrified by what's happened, and I join all the community leaders to condemn any hate crime, any crime against Asian community. And I would like to let you know that I'm standing steadfast with you guys fighting this, and you can always reach out to me. I'm here to help you. I have already asked Chief Drain. I can tell you guys we have a great police department. I even communicated with him March 2nd, I believe. I heard an email back from him that they are doing a great job in Plano. We are so fortunate. We haven't experienced this yet. However, of course, we do not want to see it happen anywhere. And you have our commitment from Plano City Council as well as from the police force department that we take this very seriously, and we will work very hard to help the Asian community feel safe. And you can always call me. My number is 214-517-7071. 214-517-7071. You can also email me if you see anything, or you feel anything. You can email lilyforplano@gmail, LILYFOR Plano@gmail.com, or lilybao@plano.gov. That's also possible. And please know that we are 100% behind all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the organizer.
Thank you. And then I think just like the other Allen City Council member mentioned that we are kind of behind, that Allen doesn't have any Asian representative representing Asian residents, and Plano is way ahead of us. So we will be ready to catch up very soon, I guess. Tiffany has to leave early because he is working in the TV station, reporting, and then thank you everyone, especially all the panelists. I appreciate your help, and with such a short notice that you guys have been spending weekend time with us, and then working on this session. And then we appreciate all the input, and also appreciate all the audience today. Thank you. We have a record number of people attending our Zoom meeting today, and then we will send all the feedback to the officials as well. And then in the future, we hope everyone start to be active and start vote. And then also, as Officer Yuan said that everyone need to pay attention to your family members, and then make friends with your neighbors, and then get connected to your officials, and then everyone keep safe. And thank you very much for everyone attending. And we're closing this conference call. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Yeah.